course, relate to America, the United States of America, obviously talking about very different traditional society. And what I'm going to propose to you today is that the United States of America is not great because of the Constitution. I mean, it was, I guess, an okay document compared to, some of the stuff coming out of the French Revolution, but by no means is it perfect, and something that I'm not willing to idolatrize it or raise it to any elevation above simply a piece of paper. But what makes America great is this, again, is something that is intangible. It's something that is a part of our identity, which relates to something vertical. Oftentimes people just think on this very horizontal level. We think about the people around us and the way they look or something like that, but our focus has to be on the vertical. It has to be on that which is transcendent, and that is to say the spiritual principle which unites America. And I've spoken about this before, that America is probably the only country, at least that I can think of, that was founded by these Puritans, by these people, not all the colonies obviously, but there's various ones that were founded by various Protestant denominations fleeing religious persecution, these Anglo-Germanic people. And for that reason, there's, I would say, two strands of, besides just generic Christianity, two things that are very unique to America. One is the Protestant work ethic, which I've spoken about very extensively. I don't think I need to rehash that. And the second one is the puritanical ethic. I think that we're very duty-driven, in some cases almost to a fault. The Western countries in general, not just the United States of America. I think Western Europe embodies this very profoundly, and this is one of the reasons why they are I wouldn't say this is specifically true, but generally it is true that the West ended slavery for humanitarian principles and humanitarian reasons, where that wasn't the case in other countries. They were forced by the UN later on or in other places to do so. And so it is this it is this spiritual undercurrent that lives within the hearts in each and every one of us, that is, white Anglo-Saxon, I would say that almost all Europeans can at least assimilate to this, but it's something that I think is very unique to white Anglo-Saxons, just as the Japanese people, the Nihonians, or I don't know, what did they call them? Nipponians? I don't know. But anyway, the Japanese people, the way they've kind of adapted themselves to this perennial tradition is through the Shinto religion. The way the United States has kind of come at this thing is through the values that I just mentioned. And these are the things that are going to last. These are the things that are eternal. Is these eternal values. The United States of America and its Masonic foundation, as some called it, United States of America and its liberal foundation, these are not things that are innate to human nature. They've been rather enforced upon us by, I guess you could say, the Vaishyas or the bourgeoisie class, while the founding fathers, though they were brilliant men who were of faith, I would say a lot of them were leading Bible studies, some of them were pastors. Regardless, a lot of them were also merchants, and so the way that they kind of came at these types of situations is they would take some higher principle and then reinterpret it from kind of this materialistic standpoint, and maybe I'll go into more detail about this in a minute. But because of that reason, then the government of the United States of America is not going to be traditionalist, obviously. But that doesn't mean the people aren't. That's what people don't understand, is that, you have the founding fathers. Some of them were Freemasons. Obviously, I'm not a fan of Freemasonry. That doesn't need explicated any further than that. But there were a lot of, the United States of America was composed of 13 individual colonies, lots of people in these colonies. Most of them were not Freemasons. Most of them were just your average farmer, merchant, pastor. They were just average people living an average life, and then they add their own sets of values that determined who they were. And these are the things that are innate within our own psyche and spirit. These are the things that I would say are latent within us. And unfortunately, as materialism takes on a greater and greater part of our lives, the spiritual aspect goes darker and darker and darker, but it's still there. It still subsists, I believe, within everyone, I think, has this. Because we're all made in the image of God, we all have the natural law written on our hearts. But the way in which we've adapted to it based on our genetics based on our just mental circumstances, environmental conditions, is going to be different for every civilization. It is different for Europe, it was different for America, it's different for Japan, it was different for India. And so that is why America has to return, in a sense, to those perennial roots. That's what makes America great, is these perennial roots. And that is what is the heart of America. That is the soul of America. Joe Biden wants you to think that the soul of America is neoliberalism or liberal ideas. That's not true. The soul of America is these Christian principles. That is the heart of America.